Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Unplanned Journey Thriving Amidst the Unpredictable, where we continue to uncover the hidden gems that emerge from life's most unexpected parts. In this fifth installment, we delve into captivating stories from individuals who have embarked on extraordinary adventures, navigating the twists and turns that destiny presents. Each tale weaves a tapestry of resilience, courage, and the turns that and the transformative power of embracing the unplanned. From chance encounters that sparked life changing opportunities to unforeseen challenges that led to incredible growth, these stories showcase the beauty and magic that lie within life's surprises. So get ready to be inspired as we journey through the remarkable landscapes of the unplanned, learning from the wisdom and experiences of our exceptional guest. And let's dive into another enchanting episode of the Unplanned Journey. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the amazing Suzanna Lee. Suzanna is the CEO and founder of Spark the Life Design, which is an executive life and leadership coaching company that empowers multifaceted leaders from diverse cultural backgrounds to reconnect with their true purpose and burnout and build meaningful careers that reflect their unique values and perspective. So, welcome to the show, Susanna, and can you please share more about the amazing things that you've been doing?
Oh my goodness. First of all, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. And I am so excited to be here. What I'm currently doing is I run a executive life and leadership and business coaching practice. And it originally started with me focusing on multicultural businesses and female leaders and sort of climbing up in the corporate arena, specifically minority females, women of color. And it's definitely a struggle that I've gone through in my experience in the corporate world. And I really wanted to take the opportunity to help those around me. And that sort of transitioned into me helping these amazing female leaders transition from either the corporate world into creating their own businesses or transitioning into getting a promotion or into another company that better fit their values and that were more aligned with their life goals and really what they wanted out of life, out of
Yeah.
family, out of everything. And I'm so excited because the unplanned journey is it's turning into my entire life. My entire life is an unplanned journey.
I think we all have some kind of situations like that. But can you share like a significant unplanned event that occurred in your life or a detour in your life that led you down to a completely unexpected path?
Of course. Oh my gosh, how much time do you have? Goodness, great. It's like one after the other thing because so I'm Korean American. My parents are Korean immigrants and they immigrated over to the US and it was about survival. They really wanted me and my sister to succeed. They also needed to work day and night in order for them to provide for themselves and for us. And so the plan was for me to go to medical school and go to Harvard. All my cousins went to Harvard and MIT, and they're like, this is your life path. Meanwhile, yeah, I know, a lot to live up to. So that was sort of like, that was the life plan, right? And then there was me that was like, okay, I'm going to do these things, and then sort of rebelled because I was mostly raised on Long Island and was taught independence and freedom of thought to a certain extent, as much as a woman, a woman of color can be. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to rebel and I'm going to be an actor. And then I was like, I want to do both because medicine is so interesting to me. And then I was doing all these pre-med classes. I was doing medical research at the same time. I was like auditioning and like I was just getting into show business. And I realized that at that time, there wasn't much diversity. So I was being typecasted into a lot of roles that I would not have been proud of, roles that involved me speaking with an accent of some sort, or roles where they wanted to portray me as Chinese and asked me to speak Mandarin when I have no idea. So it was just things like that, right? And I didn't really expect that to the extent that I experienced it.
Yeah.
So although I loved acting and performing, I rethought about sort of like I replanned. I replanned my life because I didn't want to experience that obviously anymore. And I really wanted to do something better with my time. And also for the pre-med thing, at that time, that is when the market crashed. Obamacare had just sort of started. And I realized that I'm going to have all these loans. I'm going to be like working forever. Residency is not fun. And I wanted to go in. I was able to make money. And then I found myself in commercial real estate because there was a market crash and I needed a job. I separated, is what I call it, from my last company. So I was managing a team for a real estate developer. I was managing a portfolio within Manhattan, and then I was transferred to Brooklyn. And as I got promoted and climbed up in the leadership ranks, and I think part of it is also because of all of these social justice movements, BLM, and also Asian hate, and also the Me Too movement, all of these movements in the past, like, less than a decade, it made me take another look at what was happening around me, how I was being treated, how people spoke to me, what the leadership in my company looked like, what their perspectives were.
Yeah.
And I realized that there was a reason that I felt off sometimes. And the reason was because I was being treated differently from my male colleagues, Caucasian male colleagues, or a combination of both. I was the only Asian American woman in this particular position, and I tried my best to hire a diverse team, but I got to tell you, it was a struggle. I worked for a company that was not comfortable or used to that.
Yeah.
And not only did I need to sort of rethink my approach and my strategy on how to bring that to my team, but also how to sort of like cut through this red tape. And once I realized, what a definition of a microaggression is, or all of these different like subtle ways that I was being treated, I guess the angrier I got, the more aware I was, because I realized that I wasn't even aware for years. And because of that, all of a sudden, I found myself questioning my leaders, not being able to relate to them in any way, because none of them actually looked like me. They didn't have the life experience as me. One was like an extremely Caucasian woman, and the other one was an extremely Caucasian man. So I didn't think I was going to be able to get through to them. And when you're treated like that by people that have, one, promoted you, but promoted you because they liked the way that you sort of obeyed the status quo, what was in place, I realized I couldn't do that anymore. I had a little bit of an identity shift where I was like, it's important to me that I be this good leader, except I didn't have anyone to actually look up to. And if I followed the steps and the way that my current leadership or previous leadership had wanted me to act, that is not my definition of what a good leader is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in the corporate world, there isn't much. Good leadership is very hard to find. And once you find it, I mean, you better stick with that, because
you need to hold on to it.
Just don't let go. Stay there.
Yeah. So just to come back on the same, like, since you were saying about leadership and all that, do you mind sharing some of the challenges or obstacles you might have encountered along this whole journey, and how did you navigate through this?
It would be just to be open to listening to yourself, as opposed to listening to society, to those around you, to those whom you perceive to be these quote unquote leaders, but really to listen to your intuition, and take the time to sort of like connect with yourself, because
Yes.
I think so many people can get caught up in the everyday grind, and no wonder there's so much happening in the world, but also just like getting out of bed, commuting to work and working, you're
Yeah.
tired at the end of the day. So it's hard for us to really connect with ourselves and to listen to
Right.
ourselves. I
Yeah.
really think that's key, because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you
Yeah.
got one, as far as I know.
Yeah, and I think the my next question was supposed around the hidden opportunities. I know it's when you started this path, the becoming a life coach. So, do you want to share some examples of the initiative that you have and how it has been shaping you and others as well? Because I took one of your classes and it was amazing session for me. So, I just wanted to know more for the audience, like what exactly would you do in this?
Oh my goodness. I really have come to the point where I have personalized each and every experience, because I truly care about my clients and each person, their life story, their background, their
Yeah.
perspective, especially coming from a multicultural point of view. It's just everyone has all of these amazing, colorful backgrounds. And what I've come to realize is that there are so many strengths
Yeah.
that people don't even realize, because they're taught by society that those are weaknesses. So a really big part of what I do is, this is funny, I didn't think this was going to come up. One of the first things that I do is I have them just list of what they
Hmm.
perceive to be their struggles, what they perceive to be their struggles, because that often leads to what they perceive as what their weaknesses are and what's holding
Yeah.
them back.
Yeah.
And then you flip it and you turn them into strengths. So I think we're taught by society that being different, to me, it's being unique. I've
Yeah.
always thought that. I've never felt that like it's something that people should let themselves be held back by, because each one of us is so special.
Yeah.
Everyone just has this like incredibly unique background. Being vanilla and acting a certain way and following these steps in order to be successful, how to behave in the workplace to a certain extent. It's not like we're encouraged to bring that colorfulness to our careers, also to our lives in
Yeah.
general. So I like to start with switching up what we perceive as weaknesses and realizing that every single one of those weaknesses, like they have a strong point. They're
Yeah.
actually strengths. And once people realize that, that's really all you need, honestly. And then I'm just there to help you come up
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
strategy, to come up with that action plan, to put it in place. But once you have that mind shift, right, and realize that like the world is completely flipped,
Yeah.
once you really realize it, because I know logically you could write it out on paper, you see it in front of you, but I think when the shift happens is when you really know it in your body, by your actions, right? And when you start to also see the results that you want to see.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you are speaking with so many people on day-to-day basis, listening to their stories, and talking about the journey. So, how is this shaping your perspective on life and your personal growth?
Goodness gracious. So just every single aspect of my life has changed, because when I really think about it, it's the key moment that I realized that like you really need to take the time to listen and think for yourself, is when I realized I spent like, I don't know, 7+ years in this company that
Hmm.
ended up like just, I mean, they let me go. I didn't want to be there in the first place after I realized what happened. But when I pointed out the discrimination in the workplace, what I thought was one, standing up for myself, but also bringing to light the issues that they could have fixed. And I saw the reaction to that. It was mostly like, almost like fear, right?
Yeah.
That they got caught. Because when you speak the truth, people get very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in an environment where that is not celebrated. Because people like to be right.
Yeah.
Leaders like to be
Absolutely.
right. And when you question that, that becomes uncomfortable. So realizing that my quote unquote, I guess you could call it weakness, because you could fall into that trap where you think of yourself as this minority female. You're not supposed to be in a leadership position. It's hard for minority females to be leaders. It's just almost like ingrained. It's like being brainwashed by society. It's all over the news. They come up with these research numbers. When it was actually easier for me just to ignore all that research that's out there, ignore what everyone was telling me. And once I was able to shut that out and just trust myself, I became the best leader ever. I became someone that like my team admired. I admired. I was proud of my leadership skills. And when I was told that, I noticed that the worst leaders, because the best leaders bring out the best in those who they manage and those who lead. Whenever someone told me, or it was really one or two people that told me, it's actually one of them was my boss, who said something along the lines of, I don't know if like you'll ever become a leader, or I don't know if this is that you could train someone to be a leader. It's almost like, when in fact, no one actually, I mean, my boss he had a Napoleon's complex. That's from everyone else. Looked at me. But I realized those are actually the worst leaders. And it's a good thing if those leaders that you don't admire are telling you that you won't be a leader or you're not leadership material. That's a great thing. Because that means you're doing everything right.
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't want their definition of leader, their definition of leadership to be, especially if it's so different from what your definition of leadership is.
Absolutely.
And thankfully, the world's changing slowly but surely. And that's also helped me sort of wrap my head around this a bit more.
And self-reflection is so important at this point as well, because as you said, there will be a lot of people coming behind to tell you you're not doing the right thing, even though you feel that, that's the right thing. And sometimes these negative feedbacks do turn into a very positive approach of your life at some point. So I think self-reflection is so important as well. But this brings me to my another question about mentorship and support. So did you find any support while you were doing this before you even started, or you started to think about, starting this journey of yours? And were there any other individuals you'd like to mention who have supported you?
Oh my goodness. I have so many. I searched out everyone that I could possibly think of because I didn't have the leaders around me. So I went out and I searched and I found all the mentors, all the therapists, all the life coaches, all the leadership executive coaches, and also women that were in positions that I admired and women that I actually really wanted to become. Because I didn't want to become those who were managing me in my company or really in my life. So I really needed to go out and seek out the qualities that I needed in a leader, in a mentor. And I think that's really, really key because I went through, there's so many people that you think that are the definition of what a leader should look like. But then you realize, oh no, that is definitely not what my definition of leadership is. So I went out and I searched out all the people. I narrowed it down because that list sort of like became smaller and smaller, specifically into this area that I wanted to go into, which was life and leadership coaching for multicultural females. And that expanded from there. But I really needed like a life guide because I mean, my parents are very traditionally Korean Christian parents. So they, but it's what you would imagine. I did not get from them the feedback that I needed and sort of the quote unquote life information and education that I needed. So you look outside of that. You look outside of your family. You look outside of your community. I definitely did not like grow up in the most diverse environment. I was maybe one of a handful of Asian kids in my Long Island upbringing. So yeah, I went out and searched out everyone I possibly could. I looked at, my past networks, and I realized that I hadn't actually done that in years, because I had sort of fallen into this pattern of saying, okay, like these are the leaders given to me. This is like the environment that's given to me. I'm just going to like, try to make the best of it. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to do what I'm told. And the more I did that, it seemed like I was doing better, because the more you feed into that, the more they like that. So because you're listening to these people, these leaders that like basically want you to do what they want out of you, not for you to think as a leader or for yourself, because I wasn't around good leadership.
Yeah.
So I sought out all the people.
And what lessons did you learn from this unplanned journey, and how have they influenced you in your day-to-day life and probably decision-making process of yours?
It always comes down to, I listen to myself. Oh my goodness, this is gonna sound like I'm not trying to be conceited or anything, but
listening to the skills,
right, you gotta listen to yourself. I mean, I got real good at listening to everyone else but myself. And sometimes you have to really dig deep, because sometimes quote unquote listening to yourself is actually like listening to the version of yourself that was brainwashed by society, right? That you were conditioned into. But you got to snap out of that and really like, it's almost like you have to feel what you feel, what you truly feel. And if something just feels off, then that's something that you need to question.
Yeah. Well, that's really how it is, right? Listening skills, having that listening, because not everybody's a good listener. People loves to talk, but very few would love to listen. So this is my last question for you for today, Suzanna. So for those listeners, our audience who may currently find themselves on an unplanned journey, what advice would you give to them to embrace this unknown and make the most out of it?
I would say be open to thinking outside and experiencing outside of what you are currently comfortable with. Because in order to grow, in order to evolve into the person that you already are, but also like to decondition yourself, right? And to live up to your full potential, you can't remain where you are right now, right? And even I feel like life is just a constant form of evolution and change, and life is unplanned. That's what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah.
Because if it were planned and everything went according to our plans, you never know what could be, and that becomes boring. So have fun and be open.
Well, that's the key to a happy life, isn't it? Because I think for me personally as well, the unplanned things have always worked out for the best. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, do everything unplanned. Sometimes things do need to be planned. But at the same time, I think for me, it has worked out really well, because even though sometimes it had led to disappointment, I've seen a lot of positive things coming in front of me. It just takes time, everything has its own time. So thank you so much for sharing the amazing insight. And as we conclude this enriching episode on the unplanned journey, we are reminded of the transformative power that embracing the unexpected holds. So our guests' captivating experience have exemplified the profound growth, resilience, and opportunities that arise from navigating life's unplanned path. So throughout this episode, we have witnessed the incredible journey of a life coach whose own unplanned adventures have led them to empower others on their unique paths. Their story is a testament to the profound impact that life surprises can have on our own sense of purpose and direction. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our guest Suzanna for sharing her insights and personal journey with us. Her wisdom and authenticity have doubtfully left a lasting impact on our podcast and our listeners. So thank you all for joining us on this unplanned journey. We look forward to bringing you more inspiring stories and empowering conversations. Stay tuned for our upcoming episode that will continue to celebrate the beauty and transformation that lie within this life's unexpected paths. Until next time, may you embrace the unplanned with grace and resilience, and may your journey be filled with joy, growth, and limitless possibilities. So, if you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay connected with us, we invite you to hit that subscribe button or follow our podcast channel. We value your support and appreciate you being a part of our podcast community. Together, we can continue to explore fascinating topics, share empowering stories, number of challenges we face, and ignite a spark of inspiration in each other's life. So thank you again for tuning in, and we look forward to having you with us on the next episode of The Unplanned Journey, Thriving Amidst the Unpredictable. Thank you so much, Suzanna.
Thank you.